You know what's worse than having to explain Earth's dangerous wildlife to aliens? Having to explain it to aliens who evolved from creatures that literally float around in space eating stardust. Try convincing a being that's basically a sentient soap bubble why they shouldn't vacation in the Amazon basin. That's my job, and let me tell you, some days I really question my career choices. I'm Doug Murphy, Earth's cultural liaison to the Galactic Council, and right now I'm sitting in conference room 7 billion of the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange, trying not to bang my head against the floating holo table. Across from me, Ambassador Luminara of the Vraxian Collective is doing that thing where she pulses different colors to express confusion. Currently, she's cycling through various shades of purple, which according to my xenobiology crash course means she's somewhere between puzzled and mildly offended. Agent Murphy, she bubbles, her translation matrix giving her voice that typical Vraxian lilt that makes everything sound like a question asked by a particularly curious wind chime. We've reviewed Earth's designated danger zones, and we find several classifications. Problematic. I take a sip of my coffee, my 4th of the morning. The stuff they serve here is technically Earth authentic, but it tastes like someone described coffee to an AI that had only ever experienced motor oil. Problematic how, Ambassador? Your species has marked approximately 47% of your planet's wetland regions as moderate to severe risk areas, she chimes, projecting a holographic map of Earth with all our swamps, marshes, and wetlands highlighted in warning colors. Yet these regions contain no significant radiation, no toxic atmospheric compounds, and no geological instabilities. We fail to understand the classification. Right. Because when your species evolved in the cold vacuum of space, the concept of being eaten is about as foreign as a tax return would be to a goldfish. I've been through this song and dance before with other species, but the Vraxians are special. They're what we in the liaison office call aggressively helpful, meaning they'll try to fix what they perceive as problems whether you want them to or not. Ambassador, I begin, using my best diplomatic voice, the one that doesn't sound like I'm explaining to a child why we can't keep a great white shark as a pet. Earth's wetland regions host numerous large predatory species that pose significant risks to unprepared visitors. Luminara ripples in what I've learned to recognize as their equivalent of a dismissive wave. But surely with modern technology, such primitive biological hazards are easily managed. I resist the urge to pull up the incident report from last month when a Centaurian tourist tried to manage an alligator with a sonic repulsor. Turns out, making an apex predator angry and disoriented is not a winning combination. The tourist lived, but their hover scooter is now part of the Florida ecosystem. Ambassador, have you ever heard of an anaconda? The translation matrix struggles for a moment, producing a series of musical tones that sound like wind chimes in a blender before settling on, Anaconda? Is this another of your Earth measurement systems? Oh boy. Here we go. I pull up the holographic display interface, already dreading the next few hours of my life. No, Ambassador. An anaconda is a type of snake. A very, very big snake. Luminara brightens to a cheerful yellow. Ah, like your garden ornaments. How delightful. I can feel a stress headache coming on. Not. Exactly. Computer, display file Earth fauna 238 green anaconda, full scale. The hologram flickers to life, and Ambassador Luminara's cheerful yellow instantly shifts to a startled white as a life-sized image of a 20-foot anaconda materializes in the conference room. I've seen this presentation dozens of times, but I have to admit, it's still impressive. The hologram even includes the rippling muscle movements as the snake slithers through virtual water. This, I say, gesturing to the massive holographic reptile, is why we mark swamps as danger zones. Luminara's voice comes out several octaves higher than usual. It appears to be malfunctioning? Surely Earth creatures don't grow to such unreasonable proportions. I smile. Not my diplomatic smile, but my "oh honey, you haven't seen anything yet" smile. Ambassador, would you like to know what happens when an anaconda finds prey? The ambient lighting in the conference room suddenly seems much dimmer, and I swear I can hear Luminara's translator matrix gulp. Here's the thing about explaining predators to a species that evolved from space-dwelling plankton: you have to start with the absolute basics. And I mean absolute basics. So you see, Ambassador, I explain, manipulating the hologram to show an anaconda's hunting process. When Earth organisms require energy, most of them need to consume other organisms. Luminara's color shifts to that particular shade of green. That means she's processing new information. Like your plants with solar absorption. Well, yes, plants do that. But animals, I pause, wondering how I ended up teaching Alien Biology 101. Animals need to eat other things. Usually those other things need to be, inside them. The ambassador's translator matrix makes a series of sounds like a wind chime in a tornado. Inside? As in, within their personal matter sphere. Their bodies, yes, I pull up another hologram, this one showing a simplified digestive system. 3 other Vraxian delegates drift closer, their transparent forms refracting the holographic light in fascinating patterns. They're all displaying that same puzzled green color. But one of the delegates chimes in, their translator struggling to convey their confusion. How does the consumed matter? Exit. I take a long sip of my terrible space coffee. Let's save that discussion for another time. Luminara pulses rapidly, her usual sign of excitement. Fascinating. But surely such a system must be inefficient. Our species absorbs nutrients directly through quantum field manipulation. Perhaps we could assist in upgrading Earth's organisms. And there it is. The moment I've been dreading. The Vraxians' infamous helpful instinct kicking in. Last time they tried to help upgrade Earth organisms, they attempted to give dolphins opposable thumbs. Do you know what happened? I do. I had to write a 40-page report about it. Ambassador, I appreciate the offer, but Earth's ecosystem is carefully balanced. Remember the dolphin incident. Luminara dims slightly. The Earth Council was quite clear about unauthorized genetic modifications after that, but surely we could at least improve the swamps, make them safer. I pull up another hologram, this one showing a compilation of various swamp predators, alligators, crocodiles, giant snakes, snapping turtles. With each new image, the Vraxian delegation drifts slightly further back from the display. These creatures, I explain, trying to keep my voice steady and professional, have evolved over millions of years to be perfect predators. They're not broken. They're not inefficient. They're exactly what they need to be. But they consume other beings. Luminara's color has shifted to a disturbed mauve by putting them inside themselves. Yes, and that's why we mark these areas as dangerous, because humans and most other sentient species prefer not to be eaten. One of the younger delegates, their form still showing the slight opacity of youth, drifts forward. But what if we were to introduce our quantum field manipulation technology to these regions? We could eliminate the need for this consumption process. I feel a headache coming on. The last time someone tried to introduce advanced technology to Earth's wildlife, we ended up with a pack of squirrels that could teleport. They're still finding acorns in secure government facilities. Perhaps I say carefully, it would be more helpful if I showed you some actual footage of how these predators operate in their natural habitat. Computer, play file Earth Fauna Documentary 47 Anaconda hunting patterns. As the hologram shifts to show actual footage of an anaconda hunting, I notice the Vraxian delegation's colors all synchronized to a pale, almost translucent white. The footage isn't even at the intense part yet. Is that standard behavior? Luminara's voice has gone up several octaves. Oh no, I say, allowing myself a small smile. This is just the beginning. Wait until you see how it actually eats its prey. The documentation continues to play, and I watch as understanding finally begins to dawn on my alien audience. Sometimes, the best way to explain Earth's dangers is to just let them speak for themselves. Although, judging by the way the youngest delegate just fainted, their form briefly dispersing into a fine mist before reconstituting, maybe I should have started with something less dramatic. Like sharks. Or maybe piranhas. Agent Murphy, Luminara says finally, her color a deep, thoughtful blue. I believe we may need to revise our assessment of Earth's danger classifications. Perhaps. I nod sagely. Would you like to know about our spiders next? The collective shudder that runs through the Vraxian delegation is almost worth the paperwork this meeting is going to generate. Have you ever tried to explain the concept of getting squeezed until your bones break to a species that doesn't have bones? It's like trying to teach calculus to a houseplant, theoretically possible, but practically frustrating. So the anaconda, I continue. Manipulating the holographic display, wraps around its prey and constricts. Every time the prey exhales, the snake tightens its grip until what Luminara's translator matrix is practically vibrating with anxiety. Until the prey stops moving, I finish diplomatically. No need to get into the gory details. The Vraxian delegation is already looking a bit pale, well, more translucent than usual. That's when Dr. Fizz Pop decides to make things interesting. Picture, if you will, a Vraxian scientist who makes other Vraxians look calm and rational. Dr. Fizz Pop is what you'd get if you combined a sugar-rush toddler, a mad scientist, and a bubble machine all wrapped up in an enthusiastic, floating alien package. Fascinating, Fizz Pop chimes in, bouncing around the hologram like an excited soap bubble. But surely there must be a more efficient method. What if we were to introduce a quantum field stabilizer to the swamp ecosystem? We could prevent such crude physical interactions entirely. I feel my eyes start to twitch. Dr. Fizz Pop, we've talked about unauthorized modifications to Earth's ecosystem. But it's too late. Fizz Pop is already accessing the holographic controls, their form vibrating with excitement. Look, I've run a simple simulation. If we just adjust the local gravity field by 0.3%, add a quantum dampening field, and maybe introduce some harmless spatial distortion, the hologram flickers, and suddenly our nice, educational Anaconda presentation turns into something that looks like what would happen if MC. Escher designed a snake while on acid. The holographic Anaconda twists through impossible angles, its body folding through dimensions that definitely shouldn't exist in our reality. Dr. Fizz Pop, I say, trying to keep my voice steady, please step away from the controls. But look, I've almost solved the predation problem. Just one more adjustment to the space-time parameters. The hologram glitches. Hard. Suddenly we're not looking at a simulation anymore somehow. Fizz Pop's enthusiastic meddling has accessed the live feed from our Amazon research station. On the massive display, a very real, very large Anaconda is giving the camera a look that can only be described as hungry curiosity. Luminara drifts closer to the display, her color shifting to that particular shade of yellow that means she's about to suggest something I'm going to hate. Agent Murphy, this is perfect. We can conduct a live demonstration of our improvement protocols. Ambassador, I really don't think. Dr. Fizz Pop, begin the quantum field modifications. Before I can stop them, Fizz Pop's bouncing form is already interfacing with the research station's control system. The holographic display splits into multiple screens, showing various angles of the swamp as strange, shimmering fields of energy begin to manifest. Initiating quantum harmonics, Fizz Pop chimes gleefully. Adjusting spatial parameters, introducing phase variance. The Anaconda on the screen stops moving. Then it does something that Anacondas definitely shouldn't do, it starts to glow. Is it supposed to do that? Luminara asks, her color shifting to a concerned lavender. No, I say, already reaching for my emergency protocols tablet. No, it is absolutely not supposed to do that. The Anaconda, now sporting a slight bluish shimmer, seems to be having an existential crisis. It raises its head, looks directly at the camera, and then decides to try swimming through what appears to be a spontaneously generated dimensional pocket. Outstanding, Fizz Pop bounces excitedly. It's already adapting to the quantum field manipulation. Now, if we just increase the power by. Computer, override protocol Murphy Omega 7, I shout. Shut down all external connections to research station Amazon 17. The holograms freeze, then fizzle out. In the sudden darkness of the conference room, I can see the Vraxian delegation glowing in various shades of excitement, confusion, and what I'm pretty sure is scientific curiosity. Agent Murphy, Luminara says after a moment of silence, did we just accidentally create a quantum-enabled Anaconda? I close my eyes and count to 10. When I open them, the situation hasn't improved. Yes, Ambassador, yes we did. And is that bad? In the distance, I can hear the research station's alarm systems activating. Somewhere in the Amazon, there's now a snake that can probably bend space-time. I'm going to have so much paperwork to fill out. Ambassador, I say, reaching for my emergency communication device, let me tell you about the time someone tried to give Octopi access to the internet. Then you'll understand why we have rules about upgrading Earth's wildlife. Dr. Fizz Pop's excited bouncing hasn't diminished at all. But think of the research possibilities. I make a mental note to update Earth's danger classification system. We're going to need a new category: Standard Earth Dangerous and Vraxian Enhanced Earth Dangerous. The emergency comm unit buzzes. Agent Murphy, a panicked voice comes through, the Anaconda. It's phasing through trees. It's going to be a long day. There are certain phrases you never want to hear in my line of work. Let's conduct a field study is right up there with it. Looked friendly and I think I fixed Earth's ecosystem. Unfortunately, that's exactly what Commander Zip Pop, the newly arrived Vraxian military scientist had just suggested. Think about it, Zip Pop chimes enthusiastically, their form pulsing with that particular shade of orange that screams about to do science without proper safety protocols. We've already accidentally quantum-enhanced one specimen. The responsible course of action would be to study it. I look at the emergency tablet displaying multiple warnings from Research Station Amazon 17. The quantum-enhanced Anaconda has already phased through 3 containment fields and apparently learned how to teleport short distances. The research team's last report simply read it can swim through air. Send help. Commander, I say, trying to keep my voice level. I don't think. I've already assembled a field team. Zip Pop interrupts, projecting a hologram of what appears to be the Vraxian equivalent of a SWAT team. Imagine floating soap bubbles in tactical gear. We've equipped them with the latest in quantum measurement technology. Ambassador Luminara, who has been unusually quiet since our Anaconda decided to ignore the basic laws of physics, finally speaks up. Perhaps Agent Murphy has a point about caution. After all, the incident with the teleporting squirrels. This is completely different, Zip Pop assures her, bouncing excitedly. We're not modifying anything new. We're simply studying the modifications we accidentally already made. That's practically cleaning up our own mess. I've learned that in the galaxy of terrible ideas, there's a special category reserved for thoughts that begin with, we're just going to study the dangerous thing we accidentally created. It's right next to let's poke it with a stick and I'm sure it's friendly. Commander, I try again. Earth predators are dangerous enough when they're following normal physics. This one can now ignore solid matter and possibly teleport. Maybe we should. Exactly, Zip Pop exclaims. The scientific possibilities are endless. Think of what we could learn about quantum biology, about space-time manipulation, about predator-prey relationships in a multidimensional context. The emergency tablet pings again. The message reads, Snake now appearing in multiple places simultaneously. Please advise. Look, I say. Pulling up the live feed from the research station, this is what we're dealing with. The hologram shows the quantum-enhanced Anaconda doing what can only be described as breaking reality's terms of service. It's moving through trees like they're not there, occasionally splitting into multiple probability states, and because apparently physics has completely given up, it seems to be leaving light trails like a snake-shaped sparkler. Magnificent. Zip Pop's color shifts to brilliant gold with excitement. We must document this immediately. Field team, prepare for deployment. Commander, I say, feeling my headache evolving into a migraine, do you know why Earth has so many warning signs about our wildlife? Because your species hasn't properly optimized them yet. No. It's because even without quantum enhancement, they're already really good at eating things. Things like, say, curious aliens who get too close while taking readings. Zip Pop pauses their bouncing for a moment. Surely with our advanced technology. The Anaconda is currently ignoring our most advanced containment technology like it's not even there, I point out. What makes you think your measurement devices will fare any better? But we've thought of that. Zip Pop projects another hologram. This one showing some kind of complex device. We've developed a quantum harmonic observation sphere. It will allow us to study the specimen while remaining completely safe inside a bubble of altered spacetime. I look at the device, then back at the feed showing the Anaconda casually swimming through what used to be solid matter. Commander, what exactly is that observation sphere made of? Quantum-stabilized energy fields, of course. The same kind of quantum fields that our friend the Anaconda is currently treating like a suggestion rather than a barrier. There's a moment of silence as this sinks in. The kind of silence that usually precedes someone saying, I'm sure it'll be fine, right before everything goes terribly wrong. Well, Zip Pop says finally, their color dimming slightly, when you put it that way. The tablet pings again. Snake has learned to divide by zero. Reality becoming unstable. Send coffee and physicists. I sigh. Commander, how about we try something different? Instead of sending in a field team, maybe we could deploy immediately. Zip Pop announces to their team. This is a unique opportunity for science. And just like that, I watch as a dozen Vraxian researchers, encased in their quantum harmonic observation spheres, zoom off toward the research station. I make a mental note to update my resume. Maybe the Centaurian Diplomatic Corps is hiring. They only have to deal with regular space disasters, not quantum-enhanced ones. Agent Murphy Luminara says softly, should we be concerned? In the distance, I can hear the distinctive sound of reality having a bad day. Ambassador, I reply, already reaching for my emergency protocols manual. Let me tell you about the time someone tried to give dolphins opposable thumbs. It'll help put things in perspective for what's about to happen. There's a special kind of chaos that ensues when highly advanced alien scientists meet Earth wildlife. It's like watching a chess match where one player is using quantum mechanics and the other is just really good at eating things. Guess which strategy usually wins? The Vraxian field team's arrival at research station Amazon 17 was marked by what the official report would later describe as an unprecedented convergence of poor decisions and physics violations. I watched through the live feed as 12 glowing alien spheres descended into the swamp, their occupants chirping excited scientific observations. Quantum fluctuation readings are off the scale, one researcher chimed. These reality distortions are fascinating, another bubbled. Oh my, what a lovely shade of impossible that is, added a third. Meanwhile, our quantum-enhanced Anaconda had developed a new hobby: probability manipulation. The research station's sensors showed it existing in multiple states simultaneously, like a scaly version of Schrödinger's cat that had decided the laws of physics were more like guidelines. Commander Zip Pop, I call through the communication link. Maybe we should reconsider. Nonsense, Zip Pop's voice comes back, their excitement making the translator glitch. We're about to make breakthrough observations about multidimensional predator behavior. Look, it's approaching our position. The snake, now trailing what appeared to be actual tears in the fabric of reality, had indeed noticed the floating array of alien observation spheres. It raised its head, tongue flicking out to taste the quantum-enriched air, and did something that made several of our reality monitoring instruments explode. Fascinating, Zip Pop exclaims. It appears to be calculating quantum trajectories. Such rapid adaptation to new physical laws. Commander, I try again. I don't think it's calculating trajectories. I think it's figuring out how to eat you. Impossible. Our observation spheres are protected by the most advanced quantum harmonic fields in the galaxy. Nothing could possibly. The feed suddenly filled with static as the Anaconda decided to demonstrate exactly why Earth's wildlife doesn't need quantum physics to be terrifying. When the image cleared, 3 of the observation spheres were missing, and the snake had developed a slight glow. Status report, I bark into the comm link. It just ignored our quantum fields, a panicked Vraxian researcher replies. Like they weren't even there. And now Dr. Blink Pop's sphere is. Oh my, I didn't know matter could bend that way. I grab my emergency protocols tablet and start typing rapidly. Initiating emergency protocol Earth Omega 9. When aliens make things worse, all remaining research team members, activate your emergency teleporters immediately. But the reading, Zip Pop protests. We're getting unprecedented data about multidimensional digestion processes. The snake, apparently deciding that quantum physics was its new favorite toy, begins to coil through several dimensions at once. The effect looks like someone gave an MC. Escher painting the ability to eat things. Commander, I say with all the patience I can muster, your team is about to become unprecedented data about multidimensional digestion processes. Teleport. Out, now. Finally, mercifully, the remaining observation spheres begin to shimmer with teleportation energy. All except one. Commander Zip Pop, I call out. Why aren't you teleporting? Just one more reading. The way it's manipulating space-time is remarkable. If I can just adjust my sensors to. The feed shows the Anaconda suddenly existing in all possible locations around Zip Pop's sphere simultaneously. Oh, Zip Pop's voice comes through softly. That's rather clever of it. What happens next will require 17 new forms to be added to the standard incident report template. The Anaconda, having apparently mastered quantum physics through nothing more than aggressive trial and error, decides to treat Zip Pop's observation sphere like a particularly interesting snack. The good news is that Vraxians can survive being temporarily merged with quantum probability fields. The bad news is that getting them unmerged requires paperwork. So much paperwork. Agent Murphy Luminara's voice comes from behind me, her color a concerned shade of mauve. Is this a normal day for you? I watch as the research station's reality stabilizers work overtime to prevent the local space-time from developing a permanent twist. Ambassador, I reply, already drafting the incident report in my head. This isn't even the weirdest thing that's happened this month. Wait until I tell you about the time someone tried to give platypuses telepathy. In the swamp below, our quantum-enhanced Anaconda begins to digest its way through several parallel universes simultaneously. I'm definitely going to need more coffee for this one. The official incident report for what became known as the quantum Anaconda event took 3 weeks to write, required the invention of 7 new scientific terms, and had to be filed in 4 different dimensions just to be thorough. The summary section simply read, "This is why we can't have nice things." In the aftermath, several important changes were made to intergalactic protocols regarding Earth's wildlife. First, Earth's danger classification was upgraded from surprisingly hazardous to creatively lethal. Even without modifications, we got our own warning symbol, a skull and crossbones surrounded by question marks. Second, the Galactic Council established the Murphy Protocol, which states that any attempt to improve Earth's ecosystem must first be tested on a simulation that assumes everything will go wrong in the most spectacular way possible. If the simulation ends with reality being broken, the improvement is automatically denied. As for our quantum-enhanced friend, well, after consuming 3 observation spheres, part of the space-time continuum, and briefly existing in 17 dimensions at once, the Anaconda finally got indigestion. The good news is that all the Vraxian researchers were eventually extracted from their quantum probability states, though Dr. Blink Pop still occasionally phases through solid matter when they sneeze. I still don't understand, Luminara says during our final debriefing. How did your Earth creature adapt to quantum manipulation so quickly? I look up from my stack of incident reports. Ambassador, Earth life has had billions of years of practice at one thing: surviving. Whether it's through quantum physics or just being really good at squeezing things until they stop moving, life finds a way. And Commander Zip Pop will make a full recovery. Though the doctors say they may need to implement a reality anchor to stop them from spontaneously probability shifting during exciting moments. The Vraxian delegation has been unusually subdued since the incident. Their usual enthusiasm for improving things has been replaced by a healthy respect for Earth's ecosystem, especially the parts of it that can eat you. We've updated our tourist guidelines, Luminara informs me, her color a thoughtful blue. All warnings about Earth's swamps now include the phrase, "No, seriously, stay away from the swamps." I nod approvingly. That's probably for the best. Though you might want to add a note about the spiders too. The what? Never mind. That's a crisis for another day. As I finish filing the last of the paperwork, my tablet pings with a new notification. Apparently, someone at the Centaurian Science Division has suggested giving dolphins access to quantum computing. I make a mental note to update my resume again. Agent Murphy, Luminara says as she prepares to leave, "Your planet is terrifying." I smile. "Ambassador, you have no idea. Wait until you hear about what happened when someone tried to give raccoons opposable thumbs." She quickly shifts to a pale, alarmed white. "Perhaps. Another time." As the Vraxian delegation departs, I lean back in my chair and look at my office wall, now adorned with Earth's new warning symbol. Below it, I've added my own personal motto, "Earth, where even the improvements need improvement." Somewhere in the Amazon, our quantum-enhanced Anaconda has settled into a comfortable existence, occasionally bending reality when it gets excited. The research team has learned to work around it, though they've had to implement a new rule about not keeping their lunches in parallel dimensions. Just another day at the office, really. Though I do have one lingering question: if a quantum-enhanced Anaconda sheds its skin, does the skin still exist in multiple dimensions? I decide that's a mystery best left unsolved. Some questions, like why we keep letting aliens try to fix Earth's wildlife, are better left unanswered.